Hi everyone, my name's Lillie Cannon and this is my helper today, and we're gonna be showing you how to paint. What are we gonna show? What is that?
Pumpkins!
Pumpkins! Yay! What do pumpkins remind you of?
A dream.
A dream? Nice. So we're going to go through a watercolor pumpkin tutorial today on the Lily Pond Endeavors YouTube channel. So thanks for joining us and hope you have a good time. Thanks. We're just going to jump right into it, and we're going to start with getting our pumpkins on our paper just to map where we want the pumpkins to be. So I'm just going to start with a circle, just real loose, just to kind of map what I want. Kind of want an oblongy, and maybe even a one in the front that's a little bit smaller. I just like this configuration of pumpkins. It has that magical 3 number. Things in odd numbers feel better generally to folks. Okay, so I think I got all that on there. I'm gonna erase the lines. So I'm gonna have this one in the front. It's kind of this long one in the back. I think we're just gonna start with that. And then I'm gonna mark where I want to see the pumpkin stem. So with another little circle. I think this one will just go way up top here because maybe this one a little bit off kilter. So, and then when you go, let's see, maybe this one. There we go. So when you start making the sections of a pumpkin, they're really just basically these little like oblong, oval, bulbous little sections. So we're just going to separate in this kind of like a C shape here. This was like an oval. And so they don't all have to be the same because pumpkin sections are not symmetrical. Kind of so in this, when we get to this edge here, we're just going to see kind of where the sections are coming out. So we can fix that a little bit. To make it look a little better. So this is going to fall off here. Do we like that? I think so. Clean up this edge a bit. Let's see. I think I want this one a little bit off kilter, like it's leaning on this one a little bit. So let's do this one first. You can also kind of think of them like a beach ball, you know, like how the little sections of the beach ball fall. Okay guys, so at this point what I'm going to be doing is speeding up the video because it's just more of the same, really. It's just me mapping out the sections of the pumpkin until I'm happy with the way that they look and feel together as a whole. And so I'm just going to speed through. You'll see me draw, erase, and then we'll get to the fun part, which is actually the painting part. So if anyone has any specific questions about anything that I did here, please feel free to post. Really though, it's just by feel. Like I put one down, see what I think, and then adjust it as needed from there, just like I did the first pumpkin. So I will see you at the fun part. So we're just making a stem. And literally you can make this as complicated or as easy as you want. So literally you can just put, something like that. You can do a twisty kind of vine. You just have to follow the kind of the curves up the vine. Maybe we'll put a leaf on the end of that one. I think I kind of like the curvy vines. I don't know. All right, we're gonna try to map some leaves. I think I would want a few leaves. I think. So I always think pumpkin leaves are really challenging for me. So I think I'm gonna do they have like these veins. And if we use those to help us, where the major sections are of the leaf, I think maybe that might help us. Okay, guys, so now what I'm going to do is just kind of clean up the drawing, and then I'm going to just make these lines a lot lighter by just pressing this eraser onto them. I'm going to try to find a mechanical pencil that's thinner as well, just because when you do watercolor, when you paint watercolor over this, you'll be able to, watercolor is transparent, so you'll be able to see the pencil through the watercolor. If you don't mind that, you don't have to worry about it then. You can just paint right over the pencil if you like. Once you paint over the pencil mark, though, it's really hard to get it up, hard to impossible. So that's why I'm going to make this lighter, because I don't want it to be super visible underneath the paint, okay? Okay, guys, so I think we're ready. And I just wanted to point out, I think my light source is going to be from this way. And so I'm going to turn off one of these lights here. So maybe you can see how that, I don't know if you can see that. You can kind of see it here. So you see how it's light here. The light source is kind of coming from back. Well, kind of this way. So you see how it's light here on this side and dark and shadow on this side. So that's what we're going to try to replicate with these pumpkins, is keep kind of this side a little bit more light with a shadow on the back side of the pumpkin. So we'll see how that goes. So I have two water jars here that are out of frame. Maybe I'll back it up a bit. I'm going to try to keep one cool and one warm, but it never really seems to work out that way. I always just get dunking in one, and then I keep dunking in the same one. So we'll try, but if we need to change water, we will. I think I'm going to do like a yellowy pumpkin, an orangey pumpkin, and then like a greenish pumpkin. So I think let's start with this one here. And I'm going to do a little, I'm going to just mix a little bit of lemon yellow and this cadmium orange. And then I'm going to water it down a bit. It's pretty. So I'm just going to start on this pumpkin here. So I'm dunking my paintbrush in the water, and I'm just going to kind of pull this forward. I'm going to try to leave kind of a white area. Because again, that's going to be the lightest area. And again, I haven't dipped in the paint again. I'm just dipping in water and spreading the paint that I have on the paper around. And I think I am going to do that. And then I just got some plain old water. And I'm going to just kind of soak up some of that paint because I want it to have that again, that light source from that side. So now we're going to get a little bit more paint. I'm just going to drop it in the bottom here. I'm going to come around in these grooves because the grooves are going to be a little bit darker. Now when this dries, it's going to dry a bit lighter than what it looks wet. So we try to keep that in mind. So we're going to just let that one dry just a bit. And then I think we'll work on our yellowy orange. Try to anyway. So I'm just using those same three colors, but I'm just going to try to use more yellow than orange so that it's just a little more, again, yellow rather than orange. Okay, guys, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and do another speed up because this yellow pumpkin is essentially the same. I'm just trying to layer the base color on to the bottom. And so it's just going to be a thin layer and try to remove, again, that highlight. I decided to go ahead. I know I said that I would leave the highlight white, but I decided I'd want at least a teeny bit of color there, not completely white. So I went ahead and tried to keep that highlighted area light, and you'll see me remove, like I'm doing here, the paint to try to create that illusion. I'm gonna go back to this first pumpkin here because it's dried a bit. I'm gonna take more of that pigment out there. This pumpkin's gonna cast a bit of a shadow also, so we'll deal with that in a bit. But now we're just gonna add a little bit shadow kind of in these. Uh-oh. Got a little bit careless there. That's okay. We'll just dab it up, spread it out. It's okay. Maybe, we could dab this to pull up some more pigment on this pumpkin here. All right. So now I think I'm going to start on the skin. And I wanted kind of this almost bluish green. So we'll see. We're going to mix some sap green and maybe some turquoise maybe. And I'm going to really dilute this. And I think I'm going to just put the slightest bit of red to dull it a bit, to kind of make it a little bit more olivey, not quite so bright. You can see that. We could have also done the orange, and that would have been good. A good way to tone it down. All right, guys, I'm going to speed it up again to get through this green pumpkin. I'm just layering on the base color and trying to keep that highlight in mind again. So this is just kind of to respect your time so you don't have to watch me over and over and over again do the same thing. So now we're just going to darken up some of these sections and then continue to darken up that shadowy area. I think, so this is just the lemon yellow and cadmium orange. And I think a little bit of water. And I'm going to add a little bit of this yellow ochre just to kind of darken it a bit. Maybe a little burnt umber too. And we're looking for a darker hue. Uh-oh. So my green pumpkin's still a little bit wet. We'll just leave that and just see how it turns out. Maybe we'll like that. But when you have wet paint and you're working with, it'll just suck that pigment up into it. If you don't, like this is dry, so it won't, it'll leave a hard edge. So I'm just drying off my brush because now I'm going to pull that up into the pumpkin, up over. I'm going to go around this center because it's going to be, I mean, the ribs kind of can come in, and so there will be, again, a little bit of shadow here, I think, because it will be like this upper piece would be shadowing, if that means put it in a shadow on that curve. I think I'm going to add a teeny tiny bit of this turquoise blue to some of this brown or yellow. And I'm going to put it through here and in these little ribs where there's going to be more shadow. And the blue kind of gives it this shadow color. I'm just kind of tapping it, not. Just try to take a little bit off here. One more time. Probably going to get a few blooms, meaning kind of like this, where the watercolor leaves these kind of, almost looks like broccoli a little bit to me. Broccoli florets. This is really bothering me and I keep touching it. But we're gonna take care of that in just a minute. At this point, we're just going to continue to deepen the shadows on all the pumpkins. So we're going to alternate between all three of them and darken the shadows. I use this different paper and I don't know that I particularly like it. We'll keep going with it and we'll see. It's really hard sometimes to tell, if what you're working on is going to turn out the way you want it. So, usually I try not to give up on it before it's done. We're definitely going to get a bloom there. This paper likes to bloom here. I think that can add kind of its own sort of kind of artistic flair to a piece, like if you have a lot of blooms in it. So I don't know that I necessarily dislike it. It just doesn't give you these kind of seamless color transitions. You'll have these kind of interesting edges, and so kind of some blooms in here too. And mostly this is just playing around with wet paint, which I kind of like. So even if this, even if what you're working on doesn't turn out or whatever, it's the process that's actually fun for me. I always seem to learn a little bit of something from, painting. So even if I feel like it was a bust. So I'm just trying to add a little bit more texture and a little bit more color. I did add a little of that orange into the pumpkin that I used for the other, and you can kind of see that a little bit. And I'm just kind of dabbing it. I'm just trying to do just a teeny bit of a stippling almost, just because I don't want it like a solid color on there. Because then it wouldn't look textured, and I really wanted to try to get some texture into the pumpkin itself. Just doing an initial wash, and then we're gonna put the lines on the pumpkin stem, like the viney lines.
That's cool.
Thanks, girlfriend.
I like your pumpkins.
Thanks, baby.
You're welcome.
I suppose they must be okay, because kids are brutally honest, so.
Maybe you should do the same colors as the blue one.
The blue one? Do you mean the green one?
Yeah, you should do the same color as that one.
So I have this sepia. I'm gonna try, just gonna tap the bottom here to try to make it a little bit more kind of dark. The other thing I'm gonna do is just add a bit of shadow. I think I'm gonna add a teeny bit of blue. If you're having trouble remembering what is like a complementary color, if you think of sports teams' jerseys, a lot of times they're complementary colors. So like my high school team was a purple and gold. So those are complementary colors. Broncos are blue and gold, or blue and orange, and that's complementary. Christmas colors like red and green, those are complementary. It just makes, they're opposites, so they make the other ones stand out quite a bit. So I'm just gonna get some water. Now, if you really get like scrubbing the bottom of these, you'll get bleeding. So don't want to do that. We are going to be finishing this video on high speed. I was trying to keep it under 45 minutes. I think I almost made it. But you're just going to see me finishing up the details here. So just the shadow under the pumpkins, the pumpkin stems, vines, and leaves, and essentially any of those things. It's just the same process as the pumpkins. You do a base layer and then layer on the colors and shadows. I did not get incredibly detailed with the leaves itself, so it should be fairly self-explanatory how to finish that. But if anyone has concerns, please comment below and I will address them. Let's see, at the end of this, I was so excited to finish the actual video that I forgot to show the final product. So actually the picture in close detail. So if you'd like to see it in close detail, there is a picture up on Instagram, and I'll have that link in the description below. Finally, I'd like to thank Nia, who is also a watercolor artist that posts videos on YouTube. She has a very similar pumpkin tutorial that I had watched and inspired me to be creative and make my own pumpkin. So I did want to give her credit for that. And I just hope that you have also maybe have been inspired or at least found some relaxation with this piece. because certainly being creative and painting helps me deal with the drab parts of life. So if this has helped you, I hope, or I'm glad. And then if you know anyone that might benefit or enjoy watching, please share with them. Please follow me on Instagram as well. Again, the link is in the description below. And I will see you. Oh, and last thing. So after this piece, at the very end, I'll be going through all those supplies. So if you're interested in those, that's just the very, very end there. Okay, thanks very much. I'll see you next time. Thanks guys for sticking around, and if you want to know the materials that were used in this video today, I'm going to walk through those real quick at the end here. So I did use this Master's Touch Premium watercolor pad. Mainly I just wanted to see how this reacted to the water and the paint, and I think it did an okay job. It did leave a few blooms. It's 140-pound paper. I don't believe it's all cotton. So, and it is cold pressed watercolor paper, which is what gives you that texture. I also used my silver black velvet round 8 and 4 brush. I did also use my Princeton Snap number 6 brush today. These are all round brushes. And then for paint, I used, let's see, I can never say this, Winsor & Newton Cotman watercolors. And I think I did start by showing you the colors that I used, but I did. Okay, so I think the colors I'm going to use are, and I think you can see them all here. I don't know if I'll use all these, but I got all these out. So it's lemon yellow, yellow ochre, burnt umber, cadmium orange, cadmium red deep, sap green, ultramarine blue, just ultramarine, turquoise, and sepia. I didn't end up using ultramarine blue, but I did use sap green and turquoise and sepia. So that's a few colors. I don't know if I needed all of them. You know what? I didn't use the cadmium red. I just used the cadmium red deep. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 colors that we used in this painting. So if you have any questions, please comment below. And can't wait to see you at the next one. Thanks.